Following last week's event, Seth Rollins formed an alliance with Sami Zayn to battle Senior Money in the Bank Damian Priest and NXT North American Champion Dominic Mysterio. After months of encounters, Maxine Dupree and Valhalla finally stepped into the ring to settle their differences once and for all. Whenever they are involved, Alpha Academy and the Viking Raiders are never far away. We also got appearances from Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar, and Logan Paul. Let's take a look at everything that happened on tonight's show, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and streaming.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. And hey, look who's here. Joining us this evening, the first lady of Talking Wrestling TXN, the one and only Twisted Angel, Didi Woodson. Great to have you with us tonight, Didi. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be getting the Phenom Michael Bullock due to family commitments beyond his control. He will not be joining us this evening. So, not sure when he'll be back with us, but I'm sure he will be soon enough. But for right now, not much more to say except happy SummerSlam week, everybody, because this is it. This is home stretch week. This is go home week for the biggest party of the summer, the 36th annual SummerSlam that takes place this Saturday night at Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. And MF will have a special announcement as to the preview of that show, as well as the recap at the end of the show tonight. So with all that being said, let's dive right on in to the final Monday Night Raw before SummerSlam. It emanated tonight from the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, the home of the NBA's Houston Rockets. And we started it off with an opening segment, an in-ring segment. Logan Paul came out, interrupted by Ricochet, and, final hype for their match at SummerSlam there. Nothing special, but it was also the best way for WWE to hype this match in 10 minutes. And the only couple things of note here was there was a moment when Ricochet was supposed to put his foot on Paul's chest and flip backward. He didn't quite get his foot placed properly because Paul stumbled, but he still landed on his feet. That's how talented Ricochet is. And you may have noticed also during this, it's one of those times where we have a promo segment and they end up going there, as Logan Paul brought up Ricochet's fiance, who happens to be Raw ring announcer Samantha Irvin, the best ring announcer in WWE today, mind you. And if looks could kill, if you saw that face, it was almost like she wanted to take a shot at him, and I wouldn't have blamed them. I wouldn't have blamed her one bit. But nonetheless, like I said, nothing overly special. It was a good way to hype the match coming up. The match is going to be great. I mean, we got a great feeling about this one. If their collision at the Royal Rumble was any indication, I got a good feeling about this one. So we could end up looking at the quote unquote sleeper fight a la WrestleMania 5 when Jesse the Body Ventura described that match being Mr. Perfect in the Blue Blazer, and he was right. So it could be that, but I think it'll be a lot better. So with all that being said, let's get into our first match of the evening. It was Matt Riddle squaring off against Imperium's Ludwig Kaiser, of course, the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Gunther, and Giovanni Vinci in the corner as well. And the winner of the match, 10 minutes and 50 seconds, Ludwig Kaiser. Whoa, okay. There isn't anything left to say here except this is the biggest win of Ludwig Kaiser's career, hands down. I mean, when you beat a guy the caliber of Riddle there, Ludwig Kaiser has low-key been one of Raw's most consistent performers, and this was another great performance from the German grappler that for once ended in his hand being raised. After hitting a modified DDT, Kaiser covered Riddle for the win to end a fun physical match. 3.25 stars. And remember when Gunther was beating up Ludwig Kaiser last year whenever he would lose and then just stop for some reason? It feels like that kind of treatment might return soon. There was an awkward moment when Kaiser may have caught a punch a little harder than intended, but he recovered quickly and kept going like a pro, and Kaiser's jumping enziguri was awesome. 3.25, teetering on 3.5. One of the top fights of the night for sure. And MF, there isn't anything left to say except Ludwig Kaiser. Give it up for Ludwig Kaiser defeating Matt Riddle, without a doubt, the biggest win of his career thus far.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I think we also have to talk about the other way around, and that's Riddle losing. I mean, it almost makes you wonder, what is going on? What, a guy who's that talented, that good, and I'm talking about the capabilities and the amazingness of a Matt Riddle. Normally on paper, he should have easily beaten Ludwig Kaiser. There's no possible business, rhyme, or reason that Kaiser goes over. But tonight, that's the biggest story, is that Riddle lost. And now you're wondering, was that just a one-off, or has he hit the proverbial wall? We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But like you said, Anthony, that is the biggest win of his career, and I totally agree. 3 stars is my rating for it as well. So nothing more to say. Didi Woodson, it is yours, my dear.
Okay, first of all, is this working?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Great.
2020, you're good.
Well, this is the first time I've used the Chromebook to do anything like this with, so I wasn't sure, and it doesn't have a headphone jack, so I'm going totally Bluetooth. So I wanted to make sure it was going to work before we got too much into this. I can go about 3.5 stars for this match. What was surprising to me was that it was a clean win. Imperium didn't jump in to help Ludwig at all. But of course, Gunther wanted him to prove himself anyway. So that's probably about all I'm going to add to it. Because like I told Florio, I forgot to take notes. So I'm winging it tonight. So it's yours, Florio.
No worries at all, Didi. Any opinion is good enough. We're not perfect, so. But anyways, let's move on. Let's see. Next up, Maxxine Dupri with the Alpha Academy in her corner, going up against Valhalla with the Viking Raiders in her corner. And the winner of the match in 3.5 minutes, Maxxine Dupri wins the match, her first singles win, and did so with a beautiful suplex move, a beautiful German suplex type maneuver to get the win there. So, unfortunately, this goes into cutout territory. Nobody will say this was a good match from a wrestling standpoint, but it was kind of fun. And in the end, that is what WWE is best at. Maxxine is playing someone who isn't good at this yet, and she's doing a great job of that. And I tell you what, either she does something to make them look dirty every week, or Valhalla just walks around with feet that are black on the bottom all the time. And it's hard to tell what was supposed to happen. But there was a moment when Valhalla whipped Maxxine and she just fell to the mat. But nonetheless, no surprise with the outcome. We all had a feeling Maxxine was going to go over in this match, and she did. And, 1.5. That if we had to put a rating on it. So there isn't much more to say on that. In-ring segment, another in-ring segment. We had the Judgment Day cutting a promo, and it was interrupted by Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel Rodriguez went after Rhea Ripley, and Rhea got her again. Rhea attacked her knee, and then shortly after they had a locker room moment, a trainer's room moment, where Raquel Rodriguez was being attended to by the trainers there, and then Adam Pearce came in and said, "Well, when you're cleared, you'll have your match. You'll get your match against Rhea Ripley. You have my word." So we'll see. We'll see how that works. So, all right. Then they had this well done video package detailing the the history of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, that they split into two different parts that aired throughout the show. And it was also announced that that their match at SummerSlam, MF, is going to be under MMA rules. Well, how about that? What do you know?
Well, if it's under the universal, and this is the unified under, if it's under MMA rules, this is under the unified grounds. So this will be sanctioned under the Michigan State Athletic Commission. It will be 3 5-minute rounds. This will be basically anything goes. So there are no submissions. You got to win by submission or knockout. Traditionally, if it's under the MMA rules, basically, I can't believe I'm about to see it with a ring setup like they do for WWE. We're about to get some pride fight in here, man. And you know, this is. I feel like this is gonna be more like pride than UFC. UFC, they normally do a big octagon. When they use the wrestling ring, fighting ring, whatever, it's more pride. This is going to be an excellent match, but it would be traditionally 3 5-minute rounds that this fight would go into. So if this is under MMA rules, oh my, is all I can say.
And it gives us a reason to be excited about this match.
Oh yeah, because now you're talking about true combat. So if they let them do true MMA combat, especially for the styles of Baszler and the style of Ronda Rousey, this is perfect. This is right up their alley. They are meant for these style of fights. So see a lot of judo. You're going to see a lot of Muay Thai, a lot of Taekwondo. So you're going to see a lot of kicks, a lot of punches. But Shayna Baszler, even when she was fighting in MMA, she loved the ground and pound. She is susceptible to taking somebody, putting her on the ground. Ronda Rousey was a submission specialist. So you're going to see a lot of ground attack. You're going to see a lot of side control. You could even, and the one thing that Ronda used to love to do is utilize the judo throw, get into side control, get into full mount, and then go straight for the armbar. If she gets into that armbar, it's over. Shayna Baszler will not survive this kind of fight. We'll preview that on Friday night because, as everybody knows, Saturday is SummerSlam. So this Friday night, a special edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk as we will be previewing SummerSlam.
Absolutely. So we'll have more on that at the end of the show as part of our future content to get you all ready. Because like I said, this is SummerSlam week. So yeah. MF knows way more about this than Didi and I do combined. So appreciate that info there, MF. And we'll address more of it on, like I said, on Friday night. So right now, let's get into our next matchup. And MF, speaking of MF, this is an MF special because these are two of MF's favorites. These are two of MF's boys right here squaring off. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Tommaso Ciampa. Battle of former NXT champions. And Shinsuke Nakamura wins the match. 8 minutes and 55 seconds. MF, Shinsuke pulling the tights and getting the win.
Hey,
heel
man.
Turn.
Yeah, you can say it's a heel turn in a way. It was. But the thing is, look, Nakamura got sick and tired of all the BS. Everybody's sticking his nose where it didn't belong. Everybody's getting into the business. You know what? Fine by me. This is the true Nakamura. Nakamura has always been, even in Japan, he always was that no-nonsense guy. Yeah, he might be a comedian, but he might play jokes. But trust me, when he was in that ring, when that bell rung, he was serious business. And the thing was, I kind of feel like you're gracing us back to the Nakamura of New Japan days. Because if this was what we're going to see, I like it. This was a solid match. This was about 2.5 to 2 3/4 to 3 stars. It was a solid battle. I like the fact that Nakamura won it that way. So I really got nothing more to say. Didi, it's yours.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That was a really great match. I'll agree with the rating. These guys, they did a great job. So, like I said, I don't have much to say. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, solid 3 for me. Hard-hitting match, but the ending was not exactly what Ciampa was hoping for. As they were fighting, Nakamura rolled him up and used a handful of tights to get the win. This is not a conclusive ending and leaves it open for a rematch down the road. Nakamura and Ciampa almost looked like tag team partners. It's always weird when opponents have the same color scheme for some odd reason, but nonetheless, solid 3 for me. So not much more. We move on. And then we had the in-ring segment, Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes. And, we can get into it if you guys want. Didi Woodson, started with you here. Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes, their final hype for SummerSlam.
Yeah, it was there. I mean, it was something. They definitely, not only said it with words, but I mean, they also didn't want to, Cody really did not want to wait, is what it seemed like to me. He was ready to take it. And, when Brock said, let's do the handshake and then wanted to leave, I pretty much kind of knew, no matter what Brock does, no matter how he tries to take Cody out, we have seen Cody Rhodes come back to do matches where he's had torn pecs. He's been in a brace in his arm. This guy is not going to step back for an injury. He's going to go out there no matter what. And he's going to take, Brock Lesnar for what he is, and he's going to give him the best of what Cody's got, and it doesn't matter, if he's injured or not. So, this was a great promo to lead up to the match. It really kind of makes you look forward to it, and knowing that even though Brock got the upper hand, Cody's not going to lay back and say, hey, I'm going to sit this one out. He's going to go out there, and just like he did in Puerto Rico with the arm brace, and just like he did with Seth Rollins when he had the torn back. He's going to go out there and he's going to do what he's going to do, and that's perfectly fine, and I'm ready to see it. So it's yours, Florio.
This was perfect. I mean, Brock Lesnar looks like an absolute badass heading into the rubber match. There was no reason for Cody to get his revenge here. That's what Saturday's for. I don't think there's anything else left to say. So, MF, quick thought?
Yeah, pretty much just summed it up. It was pretty good. Not bad for you to say. You even said it yourself. Probably, it's good that they did it here. We'll wait and see how it goes down later on. So, yeah, nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
All right. Next up, Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Gunther versus Chad Gable. This was originally a 5-minute challenge, which Chad Gable lasted, but Gunther said, it's not going down like this. So they restarted the match, and the match continued. And then when all was said and done, winner of the match in a total time of 12 minutes and 55 seconds, the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Gunther. Wow. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. You can almost certainly make an argument for fight of the night on this. I mean, wow. this ended up being one of the best fights of the night when all was said and done. And what else can I say? Gunther has such a great German suplex. He makes sure it looks good while still making sure his opponent lands as safely as possible. Chad Gable is also good while being Gable's German suplex is also good while being completely different. And earlier on, I referenced Samantha Irvin as the best ring announcer in WWE today, and for good reason. She has so many little things she does for different superstars to make their entrance unique. The way she said Ludwig Kaiser's name earlier in the show and beforehand, totally different from how she said Gunther's name. She says Ludwig Kaiser very, calm and soothingly, whereas, she goes all out for Gunther. And of course, the Italian accent on Giovanni Vinci and the Chelsea Green. I mean, that little Valley Girl type thing with Chelsea Green and Maxine Dupree. Ugh. That's why she's the best. She's the best ring announcer going in WWE today. There's no doubt about it. With all due respect, of course, to Mike Rome and Alicia Taylor. They're great. They're both good too, but they don't hold a candle. There's no candle. It's not even close when it comes to Samantha Irvin. So, but nonetheless, absolutely fantastic. I mean, the 5 minutes was a fun little sprint, but then you got that bonus time that was added onto it for a total of 12:55. And then they gave us a technical wrestling masterclass. And you know how much I love that. And this was absolutely brilliant. So if you wanted to make an argument for this to be the fight of the night, I would not be mad at you one bit. Although there's one other match on this card tonight that came darn close, if not surpassed it. But this was absolutely incredible. So there isn't anything left for me to say. 3.5, 3 3/4. So MF, what else is there to say? I mean, Gunther and Chad Gable, the 5-minute challenge was one thing, but then you got the bonus time added on to it because Gunther was like, not going down like this. And then to get what we got for the 12:55, Gunther going over. Now, if somehow Gunther gets by Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, could we be possibly looking at Chad Gable possibly being a guy to possibly dethrone Gunther down the road? That'd be something.
I gotta say no. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I mean, wishful thinking. It would be a wonderful thing. But Chad Gable, no. I think the cat says it all. He's looking at you, Floyo, saying, "Are you nuts? You think Chad Gable is thinking of, yeah, meow. Yeah, he's saying no. The cat's saying no right now. We all know that's not going to happen. Now, McIntyre is the best opportunity. No doubt in my mind. But I will say this. For any other guy or any other person, I don't see it. I don't see Master Gable ending that run. It has to be somebody special. It has to be somebody worthy of becoming the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. McIntyre definitely would be that one. I don't see Gable. No way. I mean, that's wishful thinking in itself. So, yeah. There's really nothing more to say here. Go ahead, Didi. It's all yours.
What about the match? What about the match there, MF?
I'd probably say about 2.5 to 3.
All right.
Yeah, this is Callie, so it's a female. So, yeah, she. I don't think she was thrilled that they restarted the match, and no, I don't think she's thrilled about seeing Gable going into anything else. But yeah, I can pretty much agree with the rating. I mean, it was good for what it was worth. They put on a good show, but for me, I wasn't too thrilled with the fact that Gunther wanted to restart the match after it was officially over the first time. So that's pretty much where my whole thing lies. So it's yours, Florio.
All righty. So with that said, we move on. Becky Lynch, came out and called out Trish Stratus, and Trish and Zoe Stark come out and, talking about the rematch. Adam Pearce came out and said, you know what? We're going to do it right here and right now. Get me a referee. Let's do this. Yeah, that didn't last long. Becky Lynch wins by disqualification in a whopping 4 seconds. Wow. 4 seconds. Yeah, that escalated. Like that infamous South Park meme on the internet nowadays. That escalated quickly. So, Trish and Zoe go to work on Becky, but then Becky gets the upper hand and rams Trish's face into the announce table. And then backstage, Adam Pearce, livid, and rightfully so. And he stepped in and announced when this rematch would take place. And surprisingly, it's not where you think. It's not going to be SummerSlam. Oh, no, it's not going to be SummerSlam. It'll be 2 weeks from tonight on Monday night, August the 14th, when Monday Night Raw emanates from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, at the arena where the Winnipeg Jets play. That venue will serve host to Monday Night Raw August 14th. And that's when Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch will go one-on-one. They'll get the rematch. Major caveat here. Per Adam Pearce, Zoe Stark banned from ringside. So, how are we feeling about this?
I'm a little surprised that they're actually doing this after SummerSlam. I think that's the biggest takeaway because
Absolutely.
for months, this was the planned match, the predicted battle that we were about to see them duke it out at SummerSlam, and now all of a sudden they pulled them off the card. This is SummerSlam week. This is the week, the final Monday Night Raw before SummerSlam. And this was one of the marquee matches you had hyped the whole time. This was planned all the way back at WrestleMania, Anthony. And remember that.
Yes.
We had this plan, like they were talking about this after Mania. And now all of a sudden, it's off? This is not happening? I'm a little annoyed. I'm a little perturbed. And I am wondering, and I got a lot of faith in Triple H. I have a lot of faith in Hunter. But this does not make any sense. These are your two biggest names in the women's division. And okay, maybe the hype hasn't been great, but why, of all times, why now did you pull the trigger and pull it off? I mean, that makes no sense. I mean, I have no idea. I hope we get a resolution, and I hope WWE gives us a mea culpa, and maybe that fight in 2 weeks is a banger, and maybe they'll be like, look, here's the reason why. We got too many good matches for you guys. That's why this one's got pulled off. Then you damn sure better make this worth our while. That you make this a fight of the night quality match. Because I know there's going to be a lot of fans tonight that are going to be very upset that they're not going to get to see the man and Trish the Dish at SummerSlam at Ford Field in the Motown, in the Motor City of Detroit, Michigan. Because you just robbed us, guys. I don't know, Hunter. I hope you have a payoff here for us, because right now I'm scratching my head and I'm like, what is this? So there's really nothing more to say. I see Dee Dee Woodson nodding her head a lot, so I know there's definitely a lot of agreements on my feelings. So Go ahead, Dee Dee. It's all yours.
Well, I think Tiger would agree too. I mean, she complained about wanting to go out there and fight in the first place, which why did Pierce disappear after he made her go down there? I don't know, because I mean, you pretty much knew Zoe was going to jump in the middle of it anyway, and then we have all this BS that goes on, and now you have to wait till the 14th to wrap it all up, and it's enough to make your head want to explode. Maybe you should go straighten it out, Tiger. You think? I think he could do a better job than Adam Pierce. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, I'm just gonna toss it back to you guys.
Well, I saw one tweet on Twitter earlier saying, and I quote, this one guy said, Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch will not be taking place at SummerSlam. Excellent move. I love when they say bigger matches for the weekly shows. SummerSlam having 4 total women's matches was too much. Less is more. So, in a way, I kind of agree with that. But this, even though this was a match that that was heavily rumored for several months, as MF alluded to, and it is what it is, and and it's a ratings grab. That's really what it is. It's a ratings grab for Monday Night Raw on the USA Network. Maybe they did this for ratings, obviously. So there you go. There's the story. Not SummerSlam, but 2 weeks from tonight, August 14th, Monday Night Raw, the Canada Life Center, Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, the home of the Winnipeg Jets, and that's where you'll see it. So see what happens. But for right now, let's and then they concluded that Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey video package, which I got to admit was very well done. Very good performances from both Ronda and Shayna, with each feeling they were disrespected by the other. And maybe that MMA rules match, will actually raise some excitement for that match, because nobody was looking forward to that match whatsoever. But with that MMA aspect, you might have piqued our interest a little bit on that. We'll wait and see. Main event of the evening, the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Whoa. Along with one half of the tag team champion, Sami Zayn, they squared off against Dominic Mysterio, the NXT North American champion, as well as Senior Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, with the women's world champion, Rhea Ripley. Of course, watch out for Finn Balor as well. Winner of the match, 12 minutes and 25 seconds. The winners of the match, Seth freaking Rollins and Sami Zayn. And what happened here? Damian Priest, he wanted to cash it in. But Finn Balor, you noticed there was that slight hesitation on the part of Finn Balor, and that opened the door for Seth freaking Rollins to come back and win the match. So 12:25 the total time. So Dee Dee Woodson, we almost had a cash in there, but Finn Balor's little hesitancy cost them.
Yep. There's still dissension in the ranks, because if you notice, every time they come out, everybody's got holding something but Finn. So there's got to be a little bit of jealousy there in that. And I know, Finn deep down, he didn't want Damian to cash that in, because he wants to be the one to take it off Seth Rollins to make up for what happened in the past. And that makes sense, because you're completing that storyline from way back when this whole Universal, championship thing started.
2016, yeah. SummerSlam.
Yeah, so, it makes sense. And, here you have a person that Finn things he could trust with the Money in the Bank. And as many times as, people have come across him backstage saying, you got to watch out, Damien's going to stab you in the back. I'm pretty sure it's probably going to happen. Damien probably will stab him in the back, and that's when the whole thing's going to fall apart. But this match was really good. They did a really great job. I'm going to give it about 3 stars. Not surprised that, the Judgment Day got involved. But, like I said, I'm not going to say too much on it because I didn't take any notes. But, it was a good match, and it definitely leaves a lot of questions more with the situation with Judgment Day than anything else, because you can see that dissension there. You can see the questioning thoughts, and that whether it happens on SummerSlam or whether it happens at a later date, something's going to happen, and it's going to cause a rift, and it's going to be between those two, because it's already happened when Finn had the first rematch with Seth Rollins. That's going to happen again somewhere along this line, and I guarantee you all hell's going to break loose. Right, Cinnamon? Yep, he says right. Okay. So it's yours, Florio.
Okay. Second best fight of the night for me. Solid 3.5 stars for this one. This was an entertaining tag match to close the show and continue this feud for another week. The absence of Kevin Owens could be felt, but Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins worked well together against Judgment Day. Dominic did a great job being the guy who took the most punishment on his team. It's weird to have Seth Rollins on a show and only see him one time near the end. WWE loves to get the pop from his music multiple times per show. And interrupting the crowd's chant for Rollins by playing Judgment Day's music was a good way to get some more heat from the crowd. So, solid 3.5 stars. Second best fight of the night for me. So, MF, your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, 3.5 stars. Solid main event. I think there's really nothing more to add. Like you said, everything played out pretty well. So, yeah, it's all yours, Florio.
All right, overall review here. And, well, as far as go-home shows go, this episode of Raw did a pretty good job selling all of the matches that will occupy the SummerSlam card. The video packages for Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler were outstanding and really put a spotlight on the emotional weight of their feud due to their long friendship. Chad Gable and Gunther put on a banger of a match that seemed like it was going to be a joke at first. Ludwig Kaiser getting a clean win over Matt Riddle was a nice surprise. And Tommaso Ciampa losing to Shinsuke Nakamura due to cheating is going to keep that storyline going for at least a week. This show definitely had some weak points, but it did a good job setting up the pay-per-view and giving the fans some fun matches along the way. So I would probably give this this definitely ranks around the 7.5 threshold for me. So 7.5 for me. MF, your thoughts on this go-home show for Monday Night Raw for SummerSlam?
7 out of 10. I thought it was a solid show. I thought the body of work was very well done. I don't think there's really anything more for us to talk about. So, Didi, yeah, you got final say, my dear.
Yeah, 7.5. Great show. Yes, a lot of weak points, but this is one of the better go-home shows that we've had in a while. So, not much more I'm going to add. So, I will hopefully see you guys on the next, SmackDown show. So, good night, guys.
Okay. Good night, Didi. And it was great seeing you back. And the next one will be Friday, a special Friday night edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk, as we will review Friday Night SmackDown's go-home show for SummerSlam and then preview SummerSlam. So, of course, we'll have more on that in the future content. MF and I will in a little bit. But for right now, let's get into my latest Tony's take. And you know how we do it as always. We got Impact Wrestling, and we also have NXT Level Up. And Bear with me as I get this ready to go. All right. Impact Wrestling, of course, continuing their series of shows from the St. Clair College in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. And we started it off with a tag team match, a Knockouts tag team match. Knockouts champion Trinity teaming up with Danny Luna, who is the manager of the new World Tag Team Champion, Subculture. They went up against Taylor Wilde and Kylan King of the Coven. And the winners of the match, 8 minutes and 32 seconds. It was Trinity and Danny Luna. 2.5, 2 3/4. Pretty basic match to start here, and it seemed to be more a way to get Trinity in the ring than anything else. The Coven already seems to be falling down, and I'm really not sure why. It's not like the Knockouts tag division has any depth, so weakening one of the few good teams is quite the questionable choice. And then Deonna Purrazzo came out after the match was over and told Trinity, I'm invoking my rematch clause. And that rematch will take place on Sunday night, August the 27th, as part of the Impact Plus special Emergence that will be emanating from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So I will have a preview on that show in the coming weeks. Loser leaves Impact match. Johnny Swinger against Ziggy Dice. And Johnny Swinger wins it in 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Absolute dud. This was the worst fight of the night. Like it was supposed to be anything serious. These two know how to do their stuff perfectly well. Swinger turning on Dice to get what he wants is exactly how this whole thing should have ended. Swinger's going to need a new goon, and I'm not sure who that's going to be, but it was a lot of fun as the legendary team ends. But absolute dud. Worst fight of the night. Giselle Shaw going up against one half of the Knockouts Tag Team Champions, Masha Slamovich. Giselle Shaw wins the match, 10 minutes, 25 seconds. 3 1/4. I mean, Shaw needed the win here, and beating one half of the Knockouts Tag Champions should go a long way towards setting up a future title shot. The new champs need new challengers, and Giselle Shaw and likely Savannah Evans would be a nice fit. The first match went well enough, though, and I could go for more from these teams. Then we had Moose and Brian Myers squaring off against the Time Splitters, that being Kushida and the Impact World Heavyweight Champion Alex Shelley. And the Time Splitters win the match, 8 minutes, 24 seconds. This was 2.5, 2 3/4. Most out of nowhere finish I've seen in years, and I kind of liked it. I mean, at the very least, it shows the fans that there's a chance for a match to end at any given time. Kind of the point of wrestling, and you don't see it often enough. So points for throwing a bit of a curveball there. Not everything has to be some big, huge finishing sequence with signature moves. Nice job there, just for a quick ending. Zachary Wentz of the Rascals going up against Speedball Mike Bailey. And Zachary Wentz in 6:15. Another 2.5, 2 3/4. Fun little sprint. Action was good here. It's always nice to see bad things happen to, action was good here. The important thing here, though, is that the Rascals are getting a nice push after reuniting. They were a big deal before the team originally split, and now we get to see what they can do in a different format here. And then the main event of the evening, Eric Young squaring off against Nick Aldis. And Eric Young wins the match, 12 minutes and 38 seconds. By default, this was the fight of the night, even though it wasn't remotely a blowaway or anything. 3 1/4, 3.5. I mean, it feels like a way to write all this off TV, as he lost completely clean in a fairly prominent bout. All this was doing his normal stuff here, meaning it was only so interesting. On the other hand, you have EY, who was almost a folk hero around Impact, and having him get a win like that is going to get a nice reaction. And then the design came out. There's obviously unfinished business there. So 7.5 out of 10. The show, more like the ones Impact have been doing in recent months, and that's a good thing. They set up some stuff for the Emergence show next month, and now we should be in for some more positive stuff going forward. For now, though, I'll take a nice enough show, which set things up and closed a few things off at the same time. And coming up this week on Impact Wrestling, only a couple of things have been announced. Knockouts champion Trinity will kick off the show, and then a 3-way match for the Digital Media Championship. Kenny King to defend against the former champion Joe Hendry, as well as Yuya Uemura. So there's that story. And then from there, we'll get into NXT Level Up, and then we'll call it a night, and we'll set up the future content. So Just one moment here as I get it up. Should have it here. Okay. All right, we started off with Damon Kemp versus Iki Manjiro, and Damon Kemp wins the match 4 minutes and 58 seconds. Jiro is fun and Kemp is coming along, but that ending almost got really ugly. I can only give it 1 3/4. Ivy Nile squaring off against Carmen Petrovic, and Ivy Nile wins the match 4 minutes and 3 seconds. Fun little match. I like how their styles meshed, and Carmen looked solid in her debut. Solid 2 stars. And then the main event of the evening, Duke Hudson with Andre Chase and Thea Hale in his corner squaring off against Luca Crucifino. Winner of the match, 6 minutes and 19 seconds, Duke Hudson. Solid match. I enjoyed the story of Luca trying to run to sucker Duke in, and then Duke adjusting to that, and Luca adjusting to that adjustment. I'm still not sure about the gimmick, but I want to see more of it. Duke has become more interesting since the turn to Chase U as well. 2 1/4 stars, 6 out of 10. Solid show as each match got better, and that's all I can ask for. Nothing must watch, but as always, an easy show to digest, and I'm intrigued by Carmen, and it's nice to see Ivy Nile back on track. So that's really all I can say there. So that will put the bow on this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. So MF, come on in. Let's set them up with the future content. I understand we got some special content this week with this, of course, with it being SummerSlam week after all. So, but first off, I just want to make sure the start times are the same as always, I'm sure. So, all right. So let's set up the future content as only we can here. So MF, I'm correct in assuming that we'll be doing our NXT Great American Bash review on Wednesday night as part of Wednesday Night Madness. I'm taking a guess. That's probably what's going to be the case here. So, all right. So here we go. Wednesday night, we got Wednesday Night Madness hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher at 10:30 on Brace 95, and we're going to have our review of NXT Great American Bash as well as NXT, and we will also have AEW Dynamite, the 200th episode of AEW Dynamite. Oh, by the way, so we'll get into all that on Wednesday night. Of course, TXN Sports World, we're still in a lull on that. So, of course, August 24th, that's when we'll be coming back for the season finale of TXN Sports World when we preview the college football and NFL seasons as well. And also on that show, MF will preview, because at that time, it'll be the time of the big 3 championship games. So MF will set the table for that on that night. Friday night, you heard MF say it, we have a special edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk Friday night. 10:30, I'm guessing, on that one, and we're gonna be reviewing Friday Night SmackDown's Go Home show for SummerSlam, and we will also be previewing the biggest party of the summer itself, SummerSlam. We'll get into all that on Friday night, and I don't know what happens after that. I'm sure I know we'll have an announcement on that in the coming days, I'm sure. So I'm sure that's the future content for now. If anything else comes up, we'll be sure to let you know. So that's it. So until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness over on MF's channel, Brace 95, it's Anthony Floyer here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock, and as well as the returning First Lady of Talking Wrestling TXN, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. Great to see her back tonight. So, of course, so we're for them in spirit. And Anthony Floyer here once again saying so long for Ridiculously Raw. And thank you all so very much for tuning in. And until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and Streamer.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Floyer, so long. And bye, everybody. Bye.